Welcome back, everybody, to the Conquer Athlete Podcast. I'm your guest co-host / host / guest co-host, Tyler Cooke. I am with the one and only Ryan Bucciantini and the infamous / famous Jason Leydon. Everybody give it up for Jason Leydon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm working on my intros, guys. I'm really trying to beef them up every week.
You're just fucking up my intro, though, ever since Ryan fucking
I know.
the page.
Ever since then, I'm like, I don't know, make sure I take care of Ryan. You guys were defensive last time.
Yeah, I know. It's like, make sure I fucking give Ryan the hand job, and then I'll just finish off Jay with whatever.
Hey, man, as long as we're all here, we're good. As long as we're all here, we're good.
As long as we all finish.
Yeah.
The greatest fitness podcast in America is back, the Conquer Athlete Podcast, where we talk about everything and anything, and we'll sprinkle in some stuff on
Nothing
fitness.
is off limits.
Nothing's off limits. What kind of topics?
Until it's not. Until it gets deleted.
Until I have to delete
until
it.
the whole podcast.
Nothing's
before
off
my
limits
time.
until I have to message Christina to delete certain sections of the podcast.
That was before my time, and I still desperately want to know what was said on that.
Which one? What are we talking about?
The one that got deleted. Because this thing is gone. There's been moments where I'm like, we're probably right moment. In that zone. And
Ryan was in his moment.
Did I say something?
Yeah, and I was like, we got to delete this and restart. Right?
And he's like, no, we're good. And then later it was like, nope.
No, we just deleted and restarted. I was like, right, we can't do
Jay
this.
wants to be controversial until I'm controversial, and then he doesn't want to be that controversial.
I mean, controversial with some guardrails, right? We're not.
Dude, we gotta have guardrails. We're still running a business here. We still gotta have guardrails.
God. Oh my God! What are we talking, Tyler? Give us the topic.
That's
great.
That's great.
Right now. Not a real fitness topic. Just something with life.
Something with life. Yeah.
You want to contain me with everything that's going on in the world right now.
Well, boys, I'll give you one. I listed my gym real estate. I own my building, 1124. I listed it for sale on Friday afternoon. Officially got a big sign in the yard, for sale, blah, 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 to relocate to a facility that is 8 minutes away. So right in the same neighborhood. It's going to provide all kinds of opportunities for new growth things, but it's going to be the end of a 7-year run in this building. So it's kind of bittersweet.
How much did you buy your building for? Announcement?
No, this is actually, publicly. I sent out a big email to my members on Thursday, and then a big sign went up on Friday. So I still need to make like a big social media post.
Your building's beautiful. That you have now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. What'd you buy it for?
I built this building. So I bought 5, it was actually 6 pieces of property that were all kind of cobbled together, small pieces that equal up to about 1.1 acres. Had to cobble them together. It was kind of a nightmare. And then rezone the whole thing for this one building. And then we built this building from scratch.
What? Really?
Yep.
So what are you trying to sell for?
We listed it for $5 million.
God bless you.
Well, obviously we've got a fair amount of debt on the property, but
God bless you.
We can talk offline.
Yeah, we can talk. I can tell something you want to dive down to. Were you in real estate?
Yeah. So that's I'm still in it technically today. That's my quote unquote day job. That kind of pays.
Dude, look at that gold chain. Of course he's in real estate.
Dude, look at this. Are you kidding me?
Are you in?
Look at this.
Are you in corporate real estate or what kind of?
Strictly commercial real estate. And then primarily, it's the same. Primarily, we've done self-storage facilities kind of all over the place. For the last
quote unquote waste management.
Not really.
No, I was
public
kidding.
Storage. You probably see.
Yeah, no, I was kidding. I'm saying like public storage, mafia, waste management, public storage.
Very much.
Mafia.
I got it. Yeah. I got it. That makes sense.
You didn't get it. You got all serious.
That's because waste management. That's because in the South we don't deal with that quite as much as they do in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, I know, right?
A little different story out there. But so that's been my background since I got out of college, was the real estate, construction, and commercial real estate business and construction.
That's awesome.
So we did that, and then about 5-6 years ago, we got out of the construction business. Kind of a phase of life thing with me and the gym and my kids, and then my dad, who I work with, he was late 50s at the time. So we were sitting at breakfast one day. I was like, "Hey man, the construction business sucks, and it's like a hard 7-day a week, never stops." Nobody ever called to like say, "Hey, I did this really cool thing." If someone ever called me like, "Hey, bill fell off the second floor," or "We ordered too much," it's like it's always some problem. Anyway, so we got it. Now we're still doing the development business. And so we're still on the owner equity, like we do that side of it, which is a lot slower pace, like not the day-to-day grind of the construction business. I mean, our projects we've been working on this one deal in Charleston for 18 months.
Listen,
trying to get it off the ground.
I'm really good at reading between the lines. And I see this kid sitting across me, right? He's like, hey, I don't like conflict. I don't like conflict. Meanwhile, he's a made man, right? Construction and storage. Yeah. I'm in the construction and public storage business, right? Okay, Tyler, you're slinging mafia
I don't
made
like,
connections.
again, I
You're
don't
like,
like
you're like, I don't like conflict. I just have people that will take you out for me and dump you in my public storage basement.
I told Jess last weekend we were talking about something about like people running their mouth. We were talking about this a little bit, like in sports, like running your mouth. Like, I just don't get into much or whatever. And she's like, well, why not? I was like, man, because there's a streak of me. Like, if I needed to, I'm to the ground. Like, there's a point of that where it's like side of all these things, but it just didn't come out. And so maybe that's kind of the same thing. Like in the construction business, it was all. That was part of the reason why I hated it. It was always like I felt like everybody was always trying to get in your pocket. Whether it's the subcontractors we're dealing with or owners, like everybody always had like this scarcity mentality. And I was just like, man, if you make money at this number, great, let's do it. If you make money at this number, great. And if I make money, then let's just make money, not trying to get everybody else's pocket.
Yeah.
And that was the construction business is just like nonstop. How can I rake another one? And it's just like, man, that'll put you in an early grave. So anyway, yes. So
if you were on The Sopranos, what would your nickname be?
I hate to say this out loud publicly.
If you tell me
I've
you've never
seen
watched The Sopranos,
I haven't. And also, furthermore, I'm a huge mafia, like gangster movie. American Gangster is my favorite movie.
Why?
And so I'm a big Denzel fan, number one. And this is going to sound maybe not a great way, but I'm obsessed I love watching them entertained by, I find fascinating, like power. So like political dramas and things that show like presidential level, like House of Cards, things like that, where it's like really high level stakes of power, I find to be fascinating. And so in the American Gangster, it's just this huge power struggle the whole time.
What's your favorite Denzel Washington movie?
Besides American Gangster? Sorry, man, he's got a ton. When I was in college, I had a DVD collection. For those of you who don't know what a DVD is, go look it up. But a DVD collection, we got our house broke into and they stole my TV and my DVD collection. That's all they stole. And I bet I had 20 Denzel DVDs in there. Training Day is one of my favorites because I think he stepped out of his character there. Flight was a good one. I mean, Remember the Titans was a classic, but that wasn't even like his best. It was just a best sports movie.
All right, this is boring.
Well, this goes on.
Have you seen the video of Denzel shunning Jay-Z at the basketball game?
It's fake video, man.
You think that's fake?
It's fake because it got cut short. Like they stop it. If you get the full long video, he turns around and smiles and hugs him.
I think I saw that video.
Yeah, because
I
like
think I saw that as well.
It
Is
sucks
Denzel in on it?
I don't think Denzel's in on it, but I don't think he knew Jay-Z. But yeah, Jay-Z's like terrible, right? Something else came out about him. But that whole video, they try to say like Denzel's man of God and was shunning Jay-Z. He's like, no. He was messing around with Jay-Z. And if you see the full video, like right after they stopped it, he like turns around and hugs Jay-Z. It's like it's manipulation by the media.
I think I saw that as well. I think I saw the whole clip.
But back to Ryan's question, what's your mafia name? It's like your porn name. It's like your porn name, right? The street name you grew up on and your middle name.
My streets were boring. Northwest Court, Hill Road. Like, I got nothing cool. I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I told you, I'm a lover. I'm a softie. I wouldn't survive in that world.
He's like, true made men don't have a name.
Yeah, they
you
call me
for
by my
sure have a
government name. I'm
body
not scared of
count
anybody.
in your storage units. 100%. 100%.
Well, that's a past life, boys. I'm in the gym business now.
That's your current life. What are you talking about?
I'm in the gym business.
You're doing $5 million deals and you're worried about what kind of
We
pull-up
hope
rig
we're
you
doing a
have?
$5 million
There's
deal. If you're
100%
out there
The gym is 100%
and you have
a
$5 million, give it to me. Well, it's not about to be. We're about to get out of the front business, and then I'm going to go lease a space elsewhere.
$5 million, that's a lot. Like, does that building have potential to make
lot.
more money?
I hope so. I hope somebody else sees that from that standpoint.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you get into like that. So the people we're talking to, there's two different like camps. There's people that are like just investors that want to own the real estate. So the real estate we have is what they'll continue to call irreplaceable real estate, meaning that there's nothing else. We're right off the Marietta Square, which is like an old school downtown, like actual square, bunch of cool businesses, restaurants. And there's nothing like this. Two things: the size A parcel we have with the parking, we have 60 parking spaces dedicated to our parking lot alone. And then the actual building we built, you just talked about, was beautiful. When I call my broker, he's like, he was a member here for a while. And he said, man, every time I come in that building, I think, man, Tyler, you did this thing right. You spent so much money on like the right things, blah, blah, blah. And just did little things. Like we have interior brick. We have a ton of exposed windows. We spent money we probably shouldn't have had to, but we did to make it right. And so you combine those two, the great real estate and the building that we put here, you've got two different camps. You got like investors that just want to have the real estate that's on the square that's great and they'll figure out what to do with it. Or you go with like an end user who buys it with the dedicated business in mind to fill this space up. And so there's pros and cons to both sides of their business. And so to your point, how much money can somebody make? The investor guy's worried more about that. The guy that's like got the end users that wants this for a brewery space or whatever else they're going to put here, he's not quite as concerned about how much money he's going to make on the real estate play as much as he is. If I can put my operating business in that location, my operating business will kill it. The investor guy is going to be more concerned with like, wait a minute, what's my exit later?
Right.
Like if I pay $5 million now, can I sell it for $7 million later? Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So.
All right. Well, let's land that plane. Let's get into a topic. What are we talking about?
Something far more interesting than boring real estate.
What do we got?
I sent out 2 to Ryan. Do you have a direction you'd rather go on one of those 2 I sent you?
Whichever one you want, buddy.
My single biggest pet peeve at the highest level of the sport is when I see really high level athletes competing at the games level, Wadapalooza level, like high level athletes, and they've got dog shit movement quality on certain movements, right? Not necessarily everything, but like there are certain movements when you're watching them, like, oh, that guy's in 5th place in the CrossFit Games. This is good. And then you see him do toes to bar and he's got broken hip patterns and his feet come back and he bends at the knees and all these kinds of things. And then, so my question is, as a coach, again, to get you from you guys' perspective, how much emphasis do we put into elite level athletes taking regressive slack to try to fix movement patterns to make things easier down the road? Or do we look at them and obviously, I think you have to probably layer it. If it's like a gross major flaw that limits them from doing 10 unbroken handstand push-ups, you're going to fix that because that's something that's going to stop them in workouts. But if you're just kind of nitpicking on movement quality stuff, how much of that do you spend in a training block trying to correct some of those movement patterns versus just say, hey, it's something they're going to be a little inefficient in that one movement and they'll just grit right through it.
Right. Who do you want to go first?
And you guys can refine that question as much as you need to. It burns me up when I see it.
Do that. Unless you're a master's athlete, I don't see people with dog shit movement patterns anymore for the most part.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, okay, yeah. But I can't recall watching elite level athletes now, even at like not the games, Wadapaloozas, and where very few people, in my opinion, move poorly. It almost seems like people move really, really well and better and better and better. I think some people might have an improper manipulation of movement depending upon fatigue levels and what they're trying to do. And they might be trying to work on some pattern of a movement with, like, reutilize your toes to bar example, a movement pattern with inside that dynamic contraction to eliminate fatigue or increase speed or increase cycle rate, right? You might see that, and maybe it's not the right thing in the right time, and it might look a little bit off, but I don't know, man. As you were talking, like I was trying to look back and think, and I can't recall of too many examples of people moving poorly, unless it's people on a team, and maybe you'll have more instances there, just because I feel like to really now, from an individual standpoint, to reach an exceptionally high level, like you have to move well, or else you're not going to really make it. Like masters athletes are different because I think you have mobility issues that come into play, right? And that is what it is, right? Like one of my masters athletes has had 2 shoulder surgeries. I mean, his split jerk is what it is. It's not going to look a specific way, right? Same thing with anything with that arm and extension, like overhead, like it is what it is, right? So barring that, like even masters athletes, more and more masters athletes, is if they have the ability to, are moving really, really well. So I don't know, bro. I don't really see it too much, right?
No, I don't. At this level of the game, I don't really think you're seeing anyone who I would say is moving poorly. I think you could maybe make the argument that there's inefficiency within a specific movement that, as a coach, you could look at, or, if you're starting to see a trend with a specific movement or a specific pattern, that maybe you'd want to look at some movement inefficiency to focus purely on energy utilization and make sure they're like maximizing energetic output to the event. But yeah, man, I feel like people are only getting better and better and better, and the size of the athlete just keeps getting more and more refined, and we're seeing less and less outliers. I think people realistically, I think people are actually staying in the highest level of the sport longer. Like we're seeing more repeat people into the sport, which I think is a testament to them moving better.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like
Yeah, I
you'd
agree.
always, early on, you'd always see kind of like a fringe athlete, they'd make it one time and then they wouldn't make it for another 2 or 3 years. And I think it was more actually on they just got lucky with the programming than they did
On
their
the year they
actual
made it.
capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we're seeing less and less of that. Like you're just seeing the same faces over and over. And obviously you have attrition more on age than you do anything else, where they're just like, I'm aging out of, especially the individual side, and you're starting to see the up and comers. But even the up and comers, we're seeing less and less of the not fluke, but the one-off
Yeah.
sort of athlete. So yeah, I mean, I think similar to Jay, I'd push back on that and be like, I think they're getting better.
Yeah.
You could probably make the argument of like a 5-time games athlete versus a first-time games athlete where, you've been doing the sport long enough that the tricks of the trade, and, what may look as inefficiency may just be time in the sport. They could be newer to it, haven't learned all the new things, but I think even that's a stretch.
We make a
Like
good
if you're
point.
making
It's
it,
so competitive at the top.
you're making it, and you're obviously fit as fuck. Like there's just no beating around it.
But yeah, and I think like going back to your question, but let's say like someone was moving like dog shit. Your question was, when do you fix it? Correct?
Yeah. Yep. Well, how much time do you actually dedicate to going back and fixing that? And
I mean,
I guess to refine the question, I'm talking more probably nitpicky over like individual movements. To your point, someone overall is not going to be a bad mover, but each person just may have a movement that might be inefficient or whatever. And so I guess I'm just nitpicking on those few movements that you'll see occasionally.
yeah,
Well,
I
you got to
think
start at the limiter.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like you really have to you got to go up and down that chain to figure out what's the core root. And I think that's what gets missed a lot when people try to refine and fix movement patterns that aren't dialed in. You have to think, what is the core root? What's truly causing this? Like, let's just say, for instance, you have people doing muscle up and, they can't keep a tight hollowed arch position, or one leg flares up higher than the other, or you have one shoulder that comes through before the other shoulder, right? Or all these different patterns that can occur. And you might look at that and be like, why does it look like that? Right. And I think that's step one, is to be able to even spot it and notice it. And it's larger in some movements and smaller in others, right? But when you find that, it's like, well, what's the limiter that's creating that issue? And that's where you really have to peel the onion away as a coach for the athlete and try to figure out what the answer to that question is. So from a length of time, for some patterns, it could be quick. For others, it could take a lot more time. I've seen some stuff take 2, 3, 4 years, right? On larger deficiencies, or where you got to try to imbalance or restructure things, or where you got to find out what sort of issue is causing the larger pattern to look inefficient, but it's a small limiter that you really got to dial in on it and refine more. And it's lots of problem solving, it's lots of trial and error, and it could take more time. So I don't really think there's a designated time frame. I think it comes down to if you can find the limiter and then look to build it appropriately so it isn't exposing other inefficiencies. But when you look to do it, you got to look to do it once the competition season's over. And at some point, if it is someone that is a competitive year and that is their year to compete, at some point you're like, okay, like we're just not quite going to get there. We've done the best, but now we got to move on to get you competition ready. If that is the primary focus, which I've done as well in the past, and got to keep trying to recycle back through it.
Yeah, I mean, we just got done talking about it on our mentorship call. Like realistically, you got to look at the season and it always comes down to what's the biggest bang for your buck. Like what's going to offer the biggest ROI. Like especially for the like super competitive athlete who has multiple events throughout the season, does actually pulling back and focusing on this one micro aspect of training, is this actually going to push them the 1 or 2% that they need to, reach the goal? Or are we really kind of grasping at straws here, and there's bigger fish to fry? Because it's like, cool, like we want everything to be perfect, but realistically, some things, it's not worth the training allocation to go in and fix that stuff, thinking about how big the problem actually is, right? Like if they have a bunch of, or if they have some mobility restriction or something like that, you have to think of the bigger impact that could potentially have. Like, you may have to pull way back on other areas as you try to improve their movement quality to not overload things and actually potentially cause an injury.
Yeah. And like one of the most challenging things is the sport in of itself. Like, I don't know, baseball, for example, right? Like, man, I got to fix this dude's swing. Okay, well, let's just say they're playing the big leagues, and when's the season end? I don't know, July, August, maybe something like that, right? Around that
Yep,
time.
September.
September, maybe. Okay. When do we start back up? April, May, right? So we're looking at 5, 6, 7 months of, okay, now let's go back and let's fix the swing. Okay, well, this is occurring. All right, why was this occurring? Was it the hand positioning? Was it balance? Was it the coiling of the hip? Was he losing his posture? You kind of hone in on that, right? And you build and you fix it and you refine it. But what's the problem with our sport? Sport of CrossFit is like, okay, let's say we stay at this elite level and let's just say for the sake of conversation, they make the games. Okay, they make the games. All right, so we're done in August. But then we have UFP, we have Rogue Fitness, we have all these other things pop up. It's like, well, what are we looking at? A couple fucking weeks, right? Before we got to kind of ramp back up, come back down, ramp back up, come back down. Okay, now we're finally done. Okay, we got 2 months and then the Open is starting. And it's like, whoa, like we have zero time to figure out what happened and why it happened and then refine it. And let's say you don't make the games. So you get to an elite level, right? So you finish a in-person qualifier. So that's going to put you like depending on when it is, May, June, July, right? Type area. Okay, but you don't qualify. So you have August, September, but hey, I'm going to jump on these WFPs. I'm going to try out for Rogue. My point is if it's very challenging, like Ryan said, you got to figure out the bang for the buck and the ROI. And if it is something that is a true limiter that prevented you from going out to the next stage, then yeah, you have to stop all of the things and put in necessary time to figure out what the limiter is, to rebuild it, refine it, and then put in a position to be successful for intensity and volume. And I ran into that now because, working with somebody and there was a limiter that we had to fix. It still get to really high level, but then it got done and it went into like 3 to 4 other competitions. And now we're getting ready for the Open and we're having conversations about this limiter where it doesn't feel right. And I'm like, yeah, I know it doesn't feel right because it's not fucking fixed. So we had zero time to try to refine it and fix it. At this point, it's understanding where you break down and doing our best to damage control that in a workout if it comes up around what creates the breakdown for you. Right now is just more important for us to understand where, when, and what causes the breakdown, because then we can game plan better versus fixing it because it's not going to get fixed right now, right? And now it's kind of the ebbs and flows of the Open into all the different components of that. So you need the season to work with you, and then you need the athlete to work with you to fix it.
To Jay's point, I feel like this year was it was a big learning experience, I think, for a lot of athletes, right? Like now there's nothing but opportunity, right? And, with WFP, with the games, like all of these things. And I think athletes are finally actually seeing that we can't be peaked all the time.
You just
Right.
can't.
And like
That's right.
that, it was actually a good kind of trial by fire where I think a lot of them really jumped in. Like they did all the WFP qualifiers, they did the final event, they did the games, all these things. And now they're like, how many people didn't renew their pro cards, right? And just like
All the
totally
big ones.
pulled out of it. Right. I think
Yep.
that in it is a real indicator that they are starting, whether or not they understood it or, like conceptualize it in their head. They may just be like, listen, I've had enough. I need a break.
Right.
Whether they understand it from like a structure standpoint, whatever, it doesn't matter. But they're like, I actually need time to rebuild, to focus in on my weaknesses, to mend up some bumps and bruises from competing at such a high level. So I think it was good, like I think a lot of them were really excited about WFP and all the other events and opportunities that are out there. But now they're starting to see of like, okay, I actually need a structured season if I'm gonna stay in this thing. Like the random touch points of competitions just doesn't allow me to really express fitness at my highest capacity because I'm just peaked all the time and never addressing weak points.
Right.
Makes sense.
That's it.
Makes sense. That's great.
Answer that one. All right.
Answer that one, not going off the list. I mean, that gets into it. Again, it's a function of the triage point, like how big of a deal is it? And then obviously biggest thing I hear here and there is managing expectations while you're going through that too, like with the athlete, is if you're working on something, you got to know that might not mean the best thing for competition, or so you have to prioritize like, hey, are we attacking whatever this is? If so, that's going to pull back in other areas. And so kind of keeping that dialogue, I guess, with the athlete along that way is probably the most important thing you guys kept hitting on in multiple different points there.
Yeah, I think one thing that we probably don't talk about enough is how close is the athlete to their actual peak? Like, are they just kind of like they've hit their physical potential and they're, rightfully so, kind of riding this line and riding it out as long as possible? I think when you've reached that point, you can actually get away with competing a little bit more frequently because it's like, hey, compete, pull back a little bit, compete, pull back a little bit. And you can almost polarize training a little bit more versus like, hey, I'm an up and coming athlete. There's still specific things I really need to develop to be like super competitive and when you're that athlete, you need to have even more structure within your week to allow for those down periods to address those weak points so you work towards your physical peak potential.
Yeah.
It's like while you're building the athlete is a little harder to deviate. And we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
About deviating from like whatever the plan is, and depending on where you're at in that athlete scale, that it makes less sense to pull off of that. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
And
like competition experience is good. Like you need to compete to learn how to compete. I think that's part of it. But if you're competing so frequently that you can never get into an actual training cycle, you're limiting your potential.
You're fucking yourself.
Yeah.
For lack of a
Same
better
thing.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a different way to say it.
It's very challenging from a personal standpoint because of ego and fear of the unknown, right? Fear of missing out. Like, hey, I need to be doing this. I should be doing this. Like, Tyler, I'm sure you can attest to that from your rebuilding that Ryan did with you. But as an athlete, when you change, alter, slow down, pivot, being able to keep your eyes on the forest through the trees is one of the most hardest things to do, especially if you're not injured, right? It is very, very hard and challenging. And there's lots of doubt and setbacks that creeps in. And the coaches who are doing that with the athletes, there is going to be maybe potentially more hand holding. There's going to be more conversations and understanding and just that buy-in for it. And it's something that I think coaches need to keep in mind that if they are going to do that with the athletes, they have to be there with them. Because from an athlete, that to me is one of the hardest things to do.
And
And
we talked about this on the last one is trust. You got to have that trust. And for an athlete, it's got to be trust in the coach and that plan. And then obviously having the conversation with that coach too, like what the plan is.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll talk to people and they're like, yeah, what's your plan? I say, well, we're going to do this and this and this. And then all of a sudden you see something in training necessarily align. Like you've got to be. And so, taking Sydney as an example would be one that like, if you got a younger athlete that's on a multiple year plan of building, hard when the open and quarterfinals come around this year, it's like, hey, let's go hit it. It's like, let's go hit it. But just know that like our plan is really down the road where we're trying to build this athlete up. But having that trust is a big part of that.
For sure.
Yeah, that's why relationships matter, man. You're not only coaching fitness, you're coaching personality and expectations.
Yep. And that's got to grow as well throughout that process.
Yeah, totally. Cool.
Sweet.
What else you want to get into?
Well, essentially the other one, which is probably a whole podcast in and of itself around qualifiers.
Oh, we'll say that for next week.
Yeah, we need to say that one. That could be a whole hour-long deal right there.
Cool.
That'd be a long one. Anything else we want to talk about? I feel like this
been very fruitful, boys. We're showing our layers here. We're like an onion. We've just got layers that we need to dive into. This has been great.
I don't think people understand how deep Jason Leydon actually rolls.
I would love to peel back some of those layers and really find out what's inside the man.
I know he wants to say
I don't know. Peel back a layer. Fire away some, Tyler. Peel back a layer.
I don't know. I want to hear some of the war stories of the professional basketball days. I think those are some of the ones when I went to that Milford camp, the Conquer camp we had at Milford that time. You took us outside before the final day and gave us like a kind of a pep talk, really, but it was like a galvanizing speech.
What
you told about basketball stories. You talked about playing ball and like how bad you have to want it. And like there's a function of like at some point you have to just want it. And so the whole point of the whole camp was like leading into that day was just like, hey, some of this is just like want to. And so that's kind of the gist of it. But just diving into those, playing overseas and all kind of the pro ball days, there's got to have some stories we need to dive into.
Yeah, we got a ton of stories. It's hard to pull them out though. If you think about like, a story that always stuck with me that really has nothing to do with me is Felipe Lopez. Felipe Lopez was a basketball player out of New York City. And coming out of high school, he's McDonald's All-American. I think he dropped like 20 or 30 in an All-American game. Amazing basketball player. Dubbed like the next Kobe Bryant. Absolute phenom. Generational talent. How many of you guys have heard of him?
Never heard of Felipe.
Never heard of him.
No. Went to St. John's, so-so collegiate career. Never really made it. They did like a 30 and 30 on Felipe, or he was in a magazine. I was reading up on him one time. And they're like, hey, like, what happened? Type thing, right? He was like, I didn't do the little things enough. And that always stuck with me because I read that when I was a kid. I didn't do the little things enough. And I think that hits hard for a lot of athletes because it's not about being sold a snake oil. It's not about being fancy and the gadgets. And it's no, just do the basics really fucking well and keep doing the basics and keep focusing on the little things that make your structure great. And when you can consistently do that and you repeatedly do that, you're going to put yourself in a position to reach the potential that your body will allow you to, right? And when you don't, well, then you're going to leave stuff on the table when you fall short. That doesn't mean you're going to make it to pro. Doesn't mean you're going to make it to the games. It doesn't mean you're going to be the best one ever, but you can always look back and be like, I did everything I possibly could. So I was a success. I think that's what people got to keep in their mind.
Do the little things more.
I know you want to wrap it up there, but that needs to be a conversation of chasing the games or chasing some sort of thing versus chasing your max physical potential.
Yeah, people don't get the difference. That's something we could talk about. Like, because like to me, I used to get lost in chasing the shiny object, playing pro basketball, doing this, right? Being a leading scorer, like all this shit. And because of that, I was a disaster. I lived and died with my basketball. If I played well, I was good. If I did good in the workout, I was good. If I didn't, I was a failure. I sucked. I was fucking worthless, right? Because I was chasing an object. I was chasing a thought of something I had to be or had to achieve or had to get to until it really hit on me. Well, that's not what matters, right? For an athlete, if you can lock in on chasing your max physical potential and you do what you can to achieve that every single day, to me, like that's the beauty of being an athlete. That's the art form of being an athlete. That's the ability to have that habitual patterns, to have the sacrifices. That's the ability to dig deep. That's the ability to create your own grit and your resiliency. That's the ability to leave no stone unturned. And to me, that is what makes you successful. And that's something that you can look back on no matter what stage of your life and be like, I did everything I could. I gave my all with what I had. And that's going to carry over into so many other things you do in life, right? If you can hone in on that. And that's the biggest takeaway.
Controlling the controllable versus controlling the uncontrollable. CrossFit's always going to be uncontrollable. They can change it on a whim, but you can control your immediate sphere and the effort you put into the little things.
Yeah, there's another story that hit me hard too for people out there. There's a story of Kobe Bryant. Did I ever tell you guys this story?
Free throw Kobe story?
No. Okay, so there's a strength coach and Nike holds camps every year. And he did bring in like, the best athletes, best high school athletes, and have some pros there too and whatever. It was a Nike camp for basketball and Kobe was there. And the strength coach was there and he was doing stuff with Nike and Kobe was there. And this wasn't towards like Kobe's end of the career. I think it was like towards middle career. And Kobe is always known for his work ethic, for his training. So he walks up to him and he's like, hey, Kobe, great to meet you. My name's blah, blah, blah. I'm here at Nike. I don't want to bother you. He's like, all I want to do is I want to watch you work out. He goes, I'll be a fly in the wall. I won't say a thing. He goes, I just want to come. I want to watch. I want to observe. I want to try to learn. And, this is in the middle of camp. So he goes, okay, tomorrow, 4:00. He's like, okay, cool. So he's thinking, wait. He goes, camp starts at 8, ends at 5. Kobe's like, yeah, 4 a.m. So he's like, okay. So he gets up and he's like, I'm going to beat Kobe Bryant to the gym. Calls an Uber, pulls up to the gym, sees the lights on. He's like, are you fucking kidding me? Gets closer, the basketball court, you hear the shoes squeaking, squeak, squeak, squeak. He's like, get the fuck out of here. So he walks in the door. It's like 3:45. Kobe's already drenched in sweat, already in the middle of fucking workout, right? Workout before the workout. So he takes a seat and he's just there watching. 2 hours go by, right? 3 hours. He's just watching. And it's all basic stuff. Jab step crossover shots, 1-2 dribbles, max 3 dribbles into a move into a shot. As hard as he could, basic fundamental stuff, nonstop. Gets done. Walks up to Kobe. He's like, hey, I tell this story to kids all the time. He's like, thank you for allowing me to do this. Fantastic. That was amazing. They have a conversation. He's like, one quick question. He goes, do you always train like that? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, you're hammering the fundamentals, the basics. Nothing flashy, no crazy dunks, nothing out of the ordinary. He's like, you're the best in the world. Like, do you do anything different? And Kobe stops and pauses and looks at him. He goes, why do you think I'm the best in the world? And I think that's, really hones in where it's about just being the best that you can possibly be at the fundamentals and allowing everything else to happen from there.
I mean, that as
Nasty.
far as like CrossFit and like coming into what we do on a daily basis, it's the same exact thing. Back to the original question of the podcast, like the movement quality thing, just move exceptionally well on an air squat. And on to your point about the arch hollow, think about how many positions the arch hollow goes into on the rig and the other movements where it's like, if you just move exceptionally well, this shit gets way easier down the line. When you start getting into the high level fun stuff that everybody wants to do, that stuff gets easy if we can move really, really well early. All the young, to your point about the young athlete, like, get that person moving like an absolute rock star. And the fun, big shit later is going to be really easy and fun if they've got that foundation, to your point, of working those fundamentals hard. So great parallels. All right, boys. I think we've done good work today.
Honest
Done
work.
good work today.
This was honest work.
Honest
That's
work.
right.
This
It
was
was
like,
honest.
we were out laying down railroad tracks. Honest, hard work, building America.
You go, building America. We'll sign off with that, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Conquer podcast. We're going to shout out Candace with Coach RX podcast platform. We appreciate the support.
Great. Guys, thank you. As always, check us out. Don't forget, if you're coaches out there and you want to continually level up your game, if you feel like you're stuck as a coach, you feel like you're confused on how to write programs, if finding how to plug all the different modalities together in a structured way that creates not just adaptation, but longevity, health, safety, and progress for your athlete, then check out the Conquer Athlete Mentorship. It's the best mentorship around. It's 12 weeks run by Coach Ryan and I, where we have specific module work every single week, followed by assignments, live calls, and one-on-one chats to help you level up, to figure out a way that you can be the best coach around and make this coaching career a business and a life-sustaining business for you. And if you're an athlete out there and you want to be heard, you feel like you're tired of being lost, feel like you're tired of being a template and number and a dot on the wall, and you want a program specifically written for you based off your strengths and weaknesses, your timeline, and have a coach meet you where you are and progress you to where you want to be, then check out our individual design programming, where you work with some of the best coaches around to get you to where you want to be. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Check out Tyler Cooke, 1124, drop $5 million into a building and slide into Coach Ryan's DMs. Peace.